mindlessly in front of my television on Friday night, I stumbled on the VH1, which coincidentally had a program about culture wars of the 50s and 60s. Now, while I can't claim to be old enough to have truly experienced those culture wars, thankfully now, I thought that it was quite ironic that of all the evenings, of all the weeks, that was what was being broadcast. One of the biggest challenges that young people in the 50s and 60s claimed was that back then they were being suppressed regarding their expression and their voice. The program reported that campuses were actually some of the most suppressive places, and I thought how timely that was that I stumbled onto that show. But here we are now in 2008 at Depaul University, where we've always been a place where those who thought or looked differently from us were supported and given a voice. Where those who express themselves differently from the mainstream are free to express themselves, and tonight is no different. Tonight's event has sparked controversy and debate. It is uncomfortable, and it may very well be very difficult. However, we welcome the free exchange of ideas to seek truth. I hope that you will help this event to be that kind of exchange. I want to remind you from a university perspective of a few points as we move forward. This event is sponsored by the Depaul Conservative Alliance and does not represent the views of Depaul University. We ask that all remain seated so as not to block the views of others in the audience. The program will include 2 speakers and a question and answer session. Questions will be taken only from the center using the microphone, and we will have 2 of our staffs. It's invisible right now. We'll have 2 of our staff members staffing that microphone for you. To afford as many voices to be heard this evening, we ask you to limit your questions to a minute. That's a really long time when you're up on a mic, believe me. If the questioner has a second comment or question, please go to the back of the line for a second turn. This event is being videotaped for your information by the Depaul Conservative Alliance. And finally, with all Depaul University events, we ask that respect and dignity drive your conduct, questions, and remarks. Disruptive conduct may result in the removal from the program. Enjoy this discussion and have a good evening.
Well, I do want to thank you all for being out here this evening. My name is Nick Hahn. I'm the president of the Depaul Conservative Alliance. The DCA is a student organization which seeks to engage the university community in a true marketplace of ideas where vigorous intellectual discussions are paramount. We're a nonpartisan organization that welcomes and promotes all flavors of conservatism. For more information about the DCA, you can visit our website at www.depalca.org. Now, I just read to all of you our mission statement, and if you'll notice, there's nothing in there about clubbing seals, reinstating the Jim Crow laws, or burning witches at the stake. So if you were interested in any of that in the DCA, you've come to the wrong group. I do want to thank, again, all of you for coming out here, especially considering the controversy surrounding the event, which is perhaps why you were all here in the first place. On that note, before we begin, I do want to say a few words about the idea of university and free speech, because that is the cornerstone of why we're having this event this evening. The university should be a place where no idea goes unchallenged, especially provided that all ideas are even allowed to be discussed. Since this event was announced, there have been many members of the university community who believe that this event should be canceled. It's too offensive, it's insensitive, and it makes certain students, particularly illegal immigrants, uncomfortable. Well, a university is not about feeling comfortable. The pursuit of truth is often not the case. In fact, a university isn't about feelings, really. It's about thinking and reasoning. If ideas are offensive, so be it. It is your responsibility as a student to respond to the ideas you disagree with, not protest them. Your protests demonstrate nothing except for the fact that the university isn't doing its job in teaching you how to tackle alternative ideas. In fact, they're saying the opposite. The university is telling you, the faculty is telling you, that you're silenced by offensive speech. Well, I know that students are better than that. And I would encourage you all to listen to the ideas here tonight and find it in yourself as a student and as your human responsibility to respond intellectually. And you all will have the opportunity to respond, because the way things are going to work tonight is that our guest, Mr. Simcox, will speak first. Then you will hear from a professor of the Religious Studies Department, Dr. Charles Strain, who will provide a brief response. The two men then will have a moderated discussion, moderated by Jeff Berkowitz. And then you will all have an open mic question and answer session. Again, thank you for being here. And for the introduction of Mr. Simcox, I want to bring up the Vice President of the Depaul Conservative Alliance, Nick Pasquez.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here again tonight.
Louder.
There we go. Can you hear me now? Illegal immigration has been a key topic going into the 2008 election. And our speaker tonight has been on the front line of this issue for several years. Chris Simcox is the founder of the Civil Defense Corps, which aids Border Patrol in protecting our southern border. He was outraged, like most Americans, that our government would allow hundreds of thousands to invade our southern border each year. Simcox saw the devastating effects this problem caused our communities and nation as a whole. But most important was the principle. The sovereign border of the United States had descended into anarchy. So, he joined with fellow patriots to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted. And I would say he's done just that. Simcox's organization brings to life the notion of security on our borders. He has even led the rescue of hundreds of migrants suffering in the desert. Meanwhile, he has also disrupted a status quo that favors drug dealers and human traffickers. He has also challenged lawmakers who lack the courage to address this critical issue by sending a message to the world. America wants its borders secure. Tonight we get to hear this message from the man himself. It is my honor on behalf of the Depaul Conservative Alliance to introduce to you Chris Simcox.
Bear with me for a moment while I get this technology to work. You guys are probably much better at this than I am. Although I'm taking lessons from my psychology's children, lessons in technology. Hey, it's an honor to be here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you to the Young Americans Foundation for helping to support and sponsor this event, and of course the Depaul Conservative Alliance, an organization of young people who I feel strongly about, and the fact that they're at least having the courage of their convictions to address important issues that will affect us today as well as in the future. It's very important for us to have the courage to have this dialogue, and that's so important. I'm going to bring to you tonight news from the border, what's happening at the borders, plural, and dispel some of the unfortunate misrepresentations about it through the media and through other websites and whatnot. But the most important thing is for us at the end, as we present our solutions to a problem after studying this for 6 years, I want to present some solutions, and I'm encouraged and want to hear what you have to say about this. So it's important that we have a dialogue and talk about solutions to the problem. Because what we have is a national disgrace along the border, especially the southern border. Human rights violations and the blatant contempt for our dominant culture in this country, something that's attracted immigrants throughout our history, is the rule of law, equal justice, protection, economic opportunities. So we want to expose what's actually happening. I am the representative and the president and founder of Minutemen Civil Defense Corps. Previously to that, we were the Civil Homeland Defense. We're a group of citizen activists who decided that we needed to take a stronger stance in petitioning for a redress of grievances from our government. The government that got us into this problem. The government that promised us in 1986 that if we were a charitable, warm-hearted, welcoming nation, and we would give amnesty to 2 million people, that they would fix this problem and protect immigrants and to protect and improve our immigration system. I agree with everyone. No human is illegal. We must base the premise of our discussion